Hello students. Yesterday we discussed about the introduction to the poet Alfred Lord Tennyson and the general idea of the poem The Lotos Eaters. Today we are going to take up the text of the poem. The poem starts with the word courage. Courage, he said, and pointed towards the land. This mounting wave will roll us shoreward soon. In the afternoon they came unto a land in which it seemed always afternoon. All round the coast the languid air did swoon, breathing like one that hath a weary dream. Full faced above the valley stood the moon, and like a downward smoke the slender stream along the cliff to fall and pause and fall did seem. In the very opening stanza of the poem The Lotos Eaters, the poet starts the poem with the word courage. The word here acts almost like an imperative. The speaker establishes his leadership in the opening lines and leads his desperate men towards the land they can see from the distance. Ulysses caught sight of land from a distance at sea. He pointed it out to his restless sailors and asked to cheer up, as they would soon be carried to it by the rising wave of the sea. This mounting wave will roll shoreward soon. At the very beginning, the poet tells us how this land, means the Lotos Eaters' land, differs from other lands. Ulysses and his companions reached a land, the Lotus land, where the atmosphere was peaceful and there was total absence of labor and activity. All round the coast, a dead faint breeze blew like the sighing of a person who dreamt a frightful dream. It was so motionless that it looked as if it had fainted. The poet attributes a sort of half conscious life to the air. The full moon seemed to stand still above the valley. The snows on the distant peaks seemed never to have melted. A stream shone in the distance like a thin streak of mist. It seemed to fall and rest for a moment before it fell from one ledge of the rock to another, like a thin veil of finest lawn or a slow moving column of smoke of vapor. Here, Tennyson describes in a very beautiful and pictorial way the languor, the passive attitude of the mariners, closely synchronized with the languid atmosphere around them. The beautiful scenery is worth enjoying in this poem. In the second stanza, poet continues, a land of streams, some like a downward smoke, slow dropping veils of thinnest lawn did go, and some through wavering lights and shadows broke, rolling a slumberous sheet of foam below. They saw the gleaming river seaward flow from the inner land far off. Three mountain tops, three silent pinnacles of aged snow, stood sunset flushed and dewed with showery drops. Up clomb the shadowy pine above the woven copse. The second stanza is full of natural beauty. Again, it was a land of many streams. Some of the streams flowed downwards. These downward falling streams looked like sheets of mist spread in front of the rocks, dropping slowly to the earth like veils of finest lawn. Others broke through bars of flickering lights and shadows and bore on their surface huge masses of lazily moving sheet of froth. There was a shining stream that flowed from the interior of the island towards the sea. In the distance, three peaks were visible. They also looked as if they were sleeping. These peaks were covered with age old snow that perhaps never melted. In the light of the setting sun, they looked bright. The tall, dark, fine trees, wet with shower of dewdrops, towered above the thick, intertwined undergrowth of bushes. The dark pine trees rose high up the sides of the hill, standing conspicuous above the low, matted jungle or brushwood. The tangled branches of the low shrubs were woven like a mat. In these beautiful lines, the poet has given a vivid description of the land of the Lotos Eaters. The languorous flow of Tennyson's lines very well accord with the scenery around, as well as with the languorous mood of Ulysses and his companions. Dear students, it's a very beautiful poem. It's a kind of natural poem. And you know, Alfred Lord Tennyson is a pictorial poet. He picturizes, he mirrors, he draws the natural scenery, the beauty of nature, the aesthetic sense that he is enriched with is very well displayed through this poem. Here, Ulysses and his companions, they are completely inactive, languorous, languid, and passive. They don't want to move, they don't want to do any work, they just want to lay down, and they feel drowsy and sleepy. They are very much satisfied and contented with the present situation simply because they have eaten up the lotus fruits that resulted into the languid mood, the lethargy, and inertia. That's all for today, and have a nice day. Thank you.